Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a program called SortTables, and our goal is to improve the user interface of this legacy application, legacy being 3 years old. But I never liked the way that worked. It's a little obscure the way it is now, so we're working on improving it. All right, I don't know if it's noticeable, but I'm in new digs. I hope the internet's working a little better this week for us. It should be new internet, so hopefully. All right. What we have, let's just run it since it's been a weekend. This table or this program can open a database and access the tables in it. We're updating the configuration. We don't do anything with it. We still use the old mechanism. It's just present on the screen. So let's go to database configuration. Okay, so we only have one database there, but it finds table class, table person, table registration with the fields shown, and we should be able to click these in or out to say which fields we want to see. Now the old one, well, which doesn't work properly, but it does let you rename them so you can have the same one twice, and that would be nice. Okay, internet, yeah. There are occasional times when you need to reference a table as two different names. So the example I think would hold if the instructor key, I guess I want to find out if instructor is taking a class. I might need to reference this once as, well, no, that wouldn't be right. I know there's situations, but we're not dealing with it right now. Okay, what I want to do is get a good structure that represents a class and its fields and which fields are selected for being there. And I'd really rather they defaulted to being all present. But that's something else we got to work on. Okay, so let's see. This is store the configuration. So let's get this going. The month is quickly disappearing. Oh, store the configuration. Okay, so a list of tables, and you select the active ones. Well, we don't select tables yet. Need columns and tables and columns. SQL support part of database. Table doesn't update the view. Well, that's what we're kind of addressing. Second join causes a crash. We don't see it now. Select configurations to open rather than typing their name. Did we do that? Yeah, we select the databases. I don't know. I've got something funny going on with that. There's databases. Okay, yeah, this one needs to be selected. There are configurations and there are databases, and you're actually opening a configuration. I don't know what that's causing. Oh, I got a bunch of errors over here too. Let's see. System gesture. Well, remote keyboard placement. Yeah, that I think that may be an artifact of running in the simulator. We're moving away from constraints, so I'll let it go. I keep seeing this one in line there. Okay, maybe let's get the simulator. Keyboard language, connect hardware keyboard. And maybe it's something with that. Let's cancel that. Back to create. So this thing where it has created, it has the database. I kind of think you don't, in a way, you don't want that, or you want to be able to change databases. Maybe that's a way to say it. If I had two very similar databases, I'd kind of like to be able to take my selection and all this work I do to connect join the tables and choose the fields and all that stuff seems like something I'd want for different databases if they had the same metadata, or at least the one I care about. All right. A list of tables, you select the active ones. Yeah, so we want to select tables. Okay, I'm going to have to, I don't know, don't remember anything from last week, frankly. All right, let's see, string quoting, SQL database. Okay, let's start here. So we added table metadata. It's the name and a list of columns. So that's class, instrument, name, time listed set, time slot, etc. Okay, now where do we use this? Okay, database view, SQL database. Okay. Well, each database promises to make the table metadata available. All right. And then where is this being used? We want to get to a view class eventually. Database. Only, oh, it's not used yet. Well, let's go to database view. That's a good candidate. Okay, so the all tables view is the one we're working with. So it does go to table data. How weird. Okay, but we go to metadata and then we present one table with that metadata. Now I think something's wrong there. Let's go there. Okay, so this column selection, that needs to be part of a data structure. Well, So I think what I wanted to distinguish the SQL metadata, which is the thing that knows the table and field names, and our selection stuff, which should be a thing that knows whether the table is, it should know the metadata, but it should know whether the table is in or out. And it should know which fields are in. Okay. So we don't really have that data. And I think that's a sign that we're working on the wrong level. I'm also getting a sign that, gosh, I have a lot of files or a lot of classes in one file here. And I don't even know if we need error one anymore. Well, hopefully we won't need this one in the long run. All right. Well, what I'm talking about is more of, well, this is model data, but I also want the sort of, I don't know if you'd call it view model, but I want a model that the view can manipulate. It's still model data. I guess I should say it that way. It's model data that incorporates this metadata. And that's what I'd like to show. Okay, so I don't know. This stuff, yeah. I feel like this is not the best arrangement. View, okay, model, database. I guess it's database. Okay, so what I want to do is extract a class, and it's going to include the table metadata because I think it needs that to work. I guess this is a refactoring. Any table with a selected column should be in. Well, I don't know. I mean, I could see letting you select the whole table in or out, and then within that, the fields in. Because you don't really need all the fields, all the tables all the time. So, I mean, especially if it was a big real database, this is just the 3 tables I care about for registration. But, I probably have other tables I would use for that. Right now it's all in spreadsheets kind of managed by a web builder, but in, a real proper setup, I would have other stuff. I'd have, I don't know, class descriptions. Maybe that's in class. What I'd have to see, but there definitely is more than 3 classes. Okay. So I'm going to treat this as extracting an object around this, and that it's intended to be a refactoring. Okay, so this is table. I'm going to call it table selection, and it probably needs to be equatable, but we'll get there. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to have var metadata is table metadata. And then I think to make it as transparent as I can, I'm going to have var name, and it returns metadata.name. And var columns, whoops. I can tell I moved my keyboard. Columns is array of string and metadata.columns. Okay. So now I think given this, I can take anywhere that references this and move them over to use table selection, which doesn't select anything yet, but that's okay. We'll find the usages. All right, more than I expected. Database view is the big one. I want this to be one table view. I want this to be table selection. All right, and his caller should be complaining by now. Well, where's that one live? Ugh. Maybe I need to do this with init. I'm okay with that being empty for now. Okay, so table metadata, and then I think I want this to be at state private var table selection of table selection. Put this back. Okay, and then okay. So, oh no, come on. Oh. I guess I'm going to try it optional. Or actually, I'll do exclamation. So exclamation says, I promise it'll be there when you want it. And that shuts up that complaint anyway. Okay, so now this should just create that but not use it. So let's run unit tests since we haven't done that yet today. And I tried to eliminate this error doing what I thought we were supposed to do of marking it don't complain about included stuff, but it didn't take care of it. I'm not sure what happened. We had it a couple weeks ago, but alrighty. So create database config. All right, so class, everything's looking like it was, right? Okay, and so I think what we've done is refactor. It's kind of a weird refactoring, but extract class table selection. All right, Stato. Okay, so what we're really doing is track table and column selection. Okay, and so now, what? Okay, I guess that's okay. All right, now database view. SQL database. I'm going to pull out this. Table selection.swift. Put that in there. Okay. All right, and then what I want to do is use it in here. So I give you table metadata, but I want to use this as my fundamental thing. So instead of metadata.name, I want table selection.name. And then metadata.columns, I want table selection.columns. Okay. And then selection, column selection. Okay. So I think that will work. UI test or unit test can't tell. This is all done in the view right now. Apparently not. Oh. So is it being displayed? I guess I only want to do this if there is a table selection. Not sure why that should be necessary. And we create it right away. Although it admittedly starts out nil. So it's no only start. That is really unexpected. One table view. That is the right thing, isn't it? All tables view shows one table view for every bit of metadata. Now, see, this tables and columns is blank, which means this selection really was nil. And I can't quite. I'll mark it defer so it definitely does it at the end. Well, let's look at table metadata. Name class. 5 columns. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, so we say there will be one. We initialize it to nil because it's nullable. And I did set it. What if I set it first? I mean, in principle, I want to get rid of metadata as a field. I guess I'll break here and here. Okay. Let's see, table metadata. That looks good. Self, table selection, value as sum. And there it is. That sure seems to be set. All right, we'll continue. Not sure why we did it twice. Yeah, it seems okay. Maybe? I don't know. Was there some sort of ordering thing? Oh, wait. We came around again. Okay. Oh, for each table. Yeah, okay. Well, that strikes me as really weird. Yeah, it's an instance of table selection, but initializing it first worked and initializing it second did not. Okay, I'm going to take this out. I mean, like I said, we're going to get rid of the metadata in a minute, so it's not really that critical, but I'm just puzzled why that seemed to make a difference. Okay, so that was dead code I deleted. So let's take this and move it down a line, run again, and see if we see that same empty list or crash. I guess it'll be this time because I took the if out. I don't get it. All right, run it this way. If we set table selection before we set metadata, It's okay. Okay, well there's something I'm not understanding about initialization of these things. Why should that matter? Well, notice we don't even reference self.table metadata to get this. We're just getting the one that's passed in. But okay, I'll take it. Now, is anybody referencing this? No. Okay, so we don't need this. And I think column selection is really coming after table selection. And actually, table selection is going to subsume it in a minute here. All right, I'll make sure this goes. Collision between table and table. Ooh, have I missed? It shouldn't be. I mean, it should reference the local one here, but we're getting rid of it. So, huh? Wow, what is going on? Okay, so table metadata is what it should be. Table selection is nil. We'll step over. Table selection value is nil? How is that possible? I don't know what this value location thing is. Table selection. Self.table selection equals new table selection with metadata. Yeah, I am. And when a moment ago we assigned, let me just do a rebuild. I don't think it should matter. I mean, that says it should be held in separate area for the views to use or for the view to use. Table metadata is good. Assigning it. Still nil. How is that nil? Do I have to do one of these underlying things? Is that? No, that's for bindings. I think if anything, it's the opposite. If it weren't state, then it's not really allowed to be a variable because this is a struct. Well, it's not treated as, or, creates a new instance if you change it. We don't want that to happen. This is just like the most basic thing. So it makes it really hard to interpret. Okay, so we come in with a metadata, table metadata, and that looks okay. It's got the class name, table name, and the field names. Okay, and what does that mean? That, where does this call? Let me go back a ways. Maybe I've messed up something in the changing of this. No. This is the old database view, so I just want to see one table. Were we passing more stuff in? I don't think we were. No. Okay. Maybe that second assignment is just weird. Sorry, database view. Okay, so like this one is weird because we're just assigning it to itself because it already initialized. So I take this one out. But like, why would that screw up this? I don't know, but it is wrong. I think at one point I was going to try and pass in a selection to start with or something, and that's table metadata is in another color. Okay. Okay, that's a parameter name. Why is that not table metadata? Okay, this run is without column selection, which I don't see how it should make a difference, but willing to learn. Okay, so there's table metadata, looks good. This one has nil for value. Table selection. Is nil. Okay, so if I step over, I don't know if we get, okay, there's that. Print table selection. Check the table selection struct. Yeah, that's a good idea. Struct table selection, var metadata. Couldn't look up symbols. Table selection getter. I don't know where my step is at this point. Yeah. So, metadata is lowercase. It's the same words. Yeah, I got to watch that, don't I? Table, metadata, metadata. I have some capital metadata somewhere. Let's. I tend to use it as a one word thing. Yeah, I'm not seeing any. But that's a mistake I could easily see myself making. This is initialized, but it doesn't seem to be. Well, I'm going to try a different way. I don't think this is even a legal way. Table selection, metadata is table meta. Oh, I don't have it coming in. I'm going to put the var back momentarily. Okay, we'll take this back out. All right, let x equal table selection metadata table metadata. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to create a variable. And leave it there. It's just so weird. It's something about state or something. I don't know. Let's see X. He's got it. Okay. And now if I step over, table selection is still nil. Okay, so now I'm going to use X. Okay, let's go in here. Should break here. X looks good. Table selection does not. Table selection does not. Yeah, let's. I worried that creating a new file threw it off, but okay, let's do it the whole way down. Okay, now run. So maybe there's something about initializing states of views. Okay, X looks good. This does not. So I can create the variable, but I just cannot assign it. Well, like you said, let's take the self dot off. Or we don't need it right now, theoretically. Table selection. I spelled everything right. X looks good. Still not right. Ooh. Okay. Let's see. Initialize state data in initializer of view Swift UI. Oh, I do need to do something with that, huh? State equals. Okay. Yeah. All right. So by this, I should say table selection equals state with initial value X. We'll just do it in 2 steps. It looks good. Okay, yeah, so it's something interaction between how you initialize states for these things. All right. I'm going to put this in line now. Yeah, so, I mean, you need to initialize state variables, but apparently you can't just initialize the variable there. You've got to do it through the state wrapper. Okay. Now it just works. I hope. Good. All right. So now this is where, okay, this is progress. Let's run tests. They shouldn't be affected. Use table selection rather than metadata for tracking. All right, so now column selection, I want to move that into this class. So again, I don't know if I'm not sure what I'm doing, I guess. It's kind of a refactoring. I mean, I want this concept of, well, I want just strings really. But column selection, and then this comes from that. column selection, selectable button. That's a new thing. Okay, I'm going to want set of string there. Now, I started this out empty. This is where... Okay, I think this is where I can start testing. Well, all right, so we've got table selection. Let's go there. And let's create a class for the test. SQL. All right. So what I want to know is, let's see if I can. Table selection. The test over here. And shrink that a little. Okay. So table selection tests. All right. So the test I want to do is, I want to say if I give you metadata, then let's just get the columns and test name and columns from, well, how about test, yeah, name and columns from metadata. All right. Okay, so let's let the metadata, let's make a new one, equals table metadata name my table, and this is column 1, column 2. Put them in the other order just to make sure. All right. We want to check that name, well, let's let selection equals table selection metadata. That's not it. Okay, and selection dot name should equal metadata dot name. And selection dot columns should be metadata dot columns. All right, this test should just pass. Let's see. Okay, and then the next test I want, let's test its columns. Let's get those working. Let's see, function test. Selection knows selected columns. No, selection starts with all columns selected. Okay, so I'm consciously reversing the way it runs now. It starts out with everything with a slash, and I want to make that not true. Okay, and we'll start the same way. Okay, and let selection equal Okay, and then we're going to assert equals. Well, is that what we're checking in our button view? Selectable button. He wants ints right now, but we can work on that. Okay. So I think I want to say selection dot selected columns is equal to set of C1, C2. Okay, so if you give it C2, C1, and you ask for selected columns, we should get the set with both those. All right. Now, selected columns is array of string as well. And we'll just return empty string. No, we'll return set of string. Okay. No exact matcher. Selected columns. Set. Okay, he fails. He should fail. Where's that? I should just run the one for now. All right. Hopefully his problem is he got empty and not that. All right, good. Okay, so we need to initialize. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. Okay, we clearly want that. Selected columns. Well, he's really just a field. Let's give him a get. Or do I just say private set var? Select column set of string. Okay, and now we want this to be equals set of metadata.columns. So they all start selected. Oh, come on. There's no member selected column. Okay, so this thing is already set at the beginning. Okay, I'm going to move this up. I like the actual variable fields above the initializer and above the computed ones. I don't know if that's a good rule or not. All right, but at any rate, we're storing those selected columns in there. Let's make sure this works. It should. Okay, so table selection knows selected columns. Okay. Now I want these to toggle. Okay, I'm going to add a little helper. Private func. No, not test. Example. Nobody wants metadata and. Maybe it's just not too much to ask to read that. And if we delete C1, the only thing left should be C2. There is no toggle. He's got to be mutating. Toggle column, and he gets a column name of string. That's not quite right, but we'll start there. There's no verb. Toggle column. Build succeeded, but I still have an error. Okay, let's run. Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. There it goes. Okay, that should pass. But it's not really right. Okay. Let's add the next one before we go too far. I'm not sure that toggle adds missing. Missing column. Okay, so if I toggle C1 and then I put it back, it should go back to C1, C2. This test will fail. And it should just get C2. Yeah. Okay, so if selected columns dot contains column name, then do this, else add, append, insert. Okay, so make okay, and then I guess, well, I know I want it. I'm not going to worry about if you add columns that aren't there or whatever. I don't think I need to care. But I do want to check the table. And we'll check both sides of this time. All right. Well, I can go simpler here. We're not looking at the columns. Empty columns, we got the table. All right, so test assert equal. Well, let's test table starts included. Table is initially included. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm in a weird school, but I like even booleans. I'd rather just say assert equals. Selection dot table selected includes table. True. Okay, and then this is another var. Well, I'll start at false so we can make it true later. And it's implicitly bool if it's true. Okay, I'm going to move this one up because it's about the initial state. Then I'm going to do the version that toggles. Table. Well, toggle table includes it or not. Okay, so if I do selection dot toggle table, which doesn't exist, includes table should be false. But if I do it again, and I don't put two tests like this very often, but something like this is, I think it just kind of makes more sense. Starts true, turns false, goes back to true. Okay. But I don't know. I mean, I came up with that arrange act assert, and here I am not doing it, maybe I should, but let's get it in there first. Okay, so we need another mutating function. I guess I can go above. Okay, and then it just toggles. Oh, I guess we'll comment it and then watch it fail. Oh. Hey, welcome, Wiggy. So I'm working on a program to help you manipulate data. And what we're doing now is working on some database configuration stuff. Let me get this green and then I'll do a quick tour here. All right, so where's table selection? Okay, we need to actually toggle it. All right. Whoops. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so I'll start with what we're working on today, which is this database configuration. So what I've got is this screen it gives you a list of all the tables, and then it lets you mark the fields being in or out. I also want to mark the tables in or out. And this section is new. We're trying to make it more explicit. The old way was you had to go into a separate screen and then select them and do them there and then go back to this. I think that's just too much back and forth. This isn't quite as flexible, but I think it's going to be good enough. All right, so you're basically selecting these columns that you want to include, and they're going to be in the main sort tables thing. So let me go back to that. I think this. Okay. So the premise of this thing is it sorts these tables in order. So if I want to see them sorted by student in this case, I help with a music festival where you take classes, and I do the registration piece. The idea is if I change the order of the columns, the sorting changes. So now I've sorted by instructors. So this is like the first one was who are the people here. This one is more like for instructor in session 1, who are the people taking his class. Same thing, Beethoven is a teacher, and all these are people taking a class, and so on. And that's all kind of this notion of quick sorting as to whatever order of columns you have, that's the sort order. Then you can also restrict columns. I double click on it to say only show me Beethoven. All right, and then double click to get it back. And then the last thing is this, we call it the bar, and the bar, I'll just send it all the way over. Okay. The bar, everything to the right is kind of ignored, and everything to the left is, it sorts by those and then counts. So if you remember, our Mozart class had about 6 people in it, and Beethoven had about 19. So that's the quick summary you can get by that. And then let me change the order again. Let's put instrument first. Okay, so notice there's 2 people teaching fiddle, 19 and 9. So that should be 28 total for fiddle and 45 total for piano. So I'll move this bar over here. 28 for fiddle, 45 for piano. So it's summing up across those in any given category or whatever you're searching in. Okay, and then I don't know if this might make more sense this way. That's so I might be saying for instrument 1 piano, let's take instrument 2. I'll have to do this in phases. And let me take instructor 1 over here. So now I'm saying for the people who are taking session 1 clavier, what are they taking in session 2? All right, same for fiddle and same for that. So the idea is to get these kind of quick correlations of things, and I can kind of visually skim through and see, like, the biggest one of those is ukulele people. One person defected to hammer dulcimer, but everybody else stayed in the ukulele class, whereas all the others seem to be bouncing around pretty much, although fiddle, and piano intermediate, I guess, also have a correlation there. But the goal with the database piece is, I want to say, given a database, I want to say which fields and which tables and which columns show up in this list. And doing that is the big change we're working on now. So I'll go back to it. Okay, now let's close this side. Okay, so the way we're working now, we have this one table view is the thing that showed a given table. So here, class with fields in it, that corresponds to one table view, and it basically is showing the table name in bold, that's class, and then for each column, it's showing a button with that text element and whether it's in or out. Now, the thing I want to switch over to is, today it looks at column selection, which is a set of ints, which is the index of the field. Really, I just need to know the column names, and I want this to come from table selection. Now, let's see how this, well, let's go to selectable button. I don't know. Well, there's 2 ways to do it. One is to just force it, and the other is to duplicate it and then do the same thing again. I think I'll duplicate just to be a little safer as we go. All right, so what selectable, well, we'll call it 2 for now. Selectable button 2 needs a set of strings. And then if you want to, it's bound to that set. I don't know how this is going to work. Well, one thing I want is I want to toggle the name of string. Actually, I don't even need that. I know it because I got told it at the beginning. Toggle. Okay, I'm just going to do a set doesn't have a toggle, does it? All right, well, we'll do it this way first. Okay, if self.selection contains text, remove it. This is sounding very familiar. Okay, so self.toggle text and text. Okay, so my hope is argument passed. Yes. My hope is this selectable button 2 is kind of a drop-in. Let's put it in and see how things go. Oh, he's in there. Okay, everything's in there right now. All right, let's put another version of this. We'll duplicate it. And I'm doing this when I don't have to ship this user interface in its intermediate form, but if I did, I could delete out these new ones, like this one up top or the particular fields I'm doing. I would be okay deleting, this is a quick job to delete it. If I were doing this in a more formal setting, I'd probably have two versions, and one that's released and one that's in progress. It's okay for me. I mean, just one developer doing it as I go. But now I'm going to put the selectable button 2 in, and the selection, and I don't know if this is going to work. This should be a binding to table selection dot. Well, he made those things private. All right, I think I want to pass the whole table selection. He doesn't need an index. He just needs an offset. Okay, so let's go to button 2. Binding is selection is table selection. Okay, and then I want to do selection dot toggle column with text. I don't know if I have to say column name. All right, and that corresponds to this chunk that was duplicated. All right. And now selection. Oh. Well, we have to ask, is selected of text? Okay, right now we don't have that concept. Let's get this thing open. Okay, toggle table, toggle column. We answer includes table, but we don't answer includes column. Okay, so well, I do selected columns. Is that legit? Oh, I'm allowed to look at those. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Um, okay, so if the selected column contains the text, we use it. All right, what's better down here? Build expression requires view conform to accessibility rotor content. I don't know what that means. Have I left out a brace? Well, let me comment out this one for now. Cannot convert binding of table selection to expected argument binding of table selection. Incorrect argument label. That's true. But it's still complaining about optional. Well, we said he was always there, so I'm okay. Well, he's not okay. Let's go to selectable button 2. Table selection. Okay. I've got markers in here. Oh. Good. All right. Now notice they're starting out selected, which tells me I'm probably on the right one. Oh, and they're updating. Okay. That makes me happy. All right. So the two things we did, we flipped. We flipped where the selection is. Now it's in table selection, and column selection is kind of ignored. But we started off selected instead of deselected, and selecting it now works. Okay. So let's see this thing. We'll do a little cleanup and then check it in. All right. Nothing's referencing this state. Good. Run our tests. And so what we did was we make one table view work from table selection rather than column selection. Okay, and then our button, selectable button, I don't think anybody's using this one anymore. No. Okay, so this can go away. Let's rename this to selectable button. Let's call it selectable column button. I'll do a clean build because renames sometimes screw this thing up. Used offset. Oh, right. We don't need to do enumerated anymore. Okay, there. And then I just use $0 if it's a one instance thing. Okay. For each of those. Okay, that's a little more work, but it's an improvement. Change selected columns. Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, just double checking this. Yes, yes. All right. So that's on the selectable button. Oops. So do we want? It's kind of a feature envy. We're going to the selection, then we're going to the columns, and then we're asking does it contain. We can just ask contains column or yeah. Is what do we say? Is table included? So is column included? I guess would be a good name. All right. So let's extract a method for that. Well, I'm gonna be manual. Includes table. And I'm trying to be careful about column name because this really is dealing with the name of the column. And then we'll take the text from here, which is selection dot selected columns dot contains text. All right. So I don't know. It's kind of a half. Half refactored or half extract method kind of thing. Okay, includes column. Oh, returns. Bool. Okay, select a column and contains column name, and then we use it over here. Selection dot includes column text. Okay, I think that's good. I'll call it extract method, although it was a little sloppy. Right. Okay. Well, that's a good move we've done here. So I'm really happy with this. Now we have a struct, which the view stuff likes structs a lot, and it noticed how it just worked when we changed the values and all that by passing it as state and letting it update it. That's real progress. Yeah, we're going to take a break. I think. Well, I would say we've tracked column selection at this point. Selection in table selection. All right, and then now we need to track table selection when we get back. All right, so we'll take 3 or 4 minutes and get a drink or whatever and come back and we'll continue working. Welcome back. All right, so right now we've got the eyeball on the field, the column, but not on the table. All right, so we're going to make that work. Let's see. So this is back to one table view. Right. This, we don't have a corresponding table select button. I think They're going to have to be different. They're so similar. Let's get them out there, and then we'll deal with it, I guess. All right. So instead of this text, I want to pass a selectable table button. So let's go make that, and then we'll see if we can get rid of some duplication around it. Okay, so this is selectable table button. Okay, he takes a selection, he takes a string. I'm going to call this name. Actually, I'm going to call it table name. Okay, so this is no longer column toggle table. Okay, selection dot includes table. All right, and then the text of the table name. Now you can see it's similar and yet it's different. Maybe we can do something with it. I don't know. All right, so I have a selectable table button that looks at the table state and tracks it. Okay, so I should just be able to use that here. It's really selectable table, whoops, table button. Oops, and he needs table selection. Yeah, dollar. And table name we don't need, but I do need selection. Now he wants the dollar back? Yeah. All right, but selectable table button. He doesn't need that. It is on the selection dot name. Yeah, I almost wonder. Either mark the table as selected or toggle all columns in the table. I almost want to leave the columns how they are, but I think we can we can change. I think we could make them light, so you could still toggle them, but they're not active to show that. So let's see if this works first. Because I think if you put the table back in, you kind of probably want the old selection you had. So I don't think that's going to be a bad thing to keep that around. Okay, that is bolded. That looks a bit... Well, do you toggle? Yes, you do. Okay. I don't know, the formatting I might want to put font. Title weight light, yes. And then this I'm going to make bold. And I'm going to take it off the collar. Because I only want the field bold, not the eyeball. I think this padding, I'm going to increase that. Well, that's a little more tolerable. Yeah. I think I'm thinking of selected table meaning it's just active. Um, I mean, you could imagine. Well, what are different possibilities? One is if you deselect the table like this, I would definitely, well, something should happen here, okay, to visually remind you that they're there. So one option is display them in light text instead of like this. Maybe turn off the eyeballs. I don't know if that helps or not, but you could just display it in light text and still be able to turn it on or off, but it's light because it's not in active use. You could hide all these, or you could say if it's deselected, don't show it. That'd be reasonable. Don't show the columns. I mean, um, I might like that one better. It's I mean, I'm the only user at this point, so it's like got to keep myself happy. But I don't not quite sure what I want. So what are you going to do? Um, the gray. I mean, I like this thing of recognizing versus having to look around for stuff. So if the field is there, yeah, if the field is there, but it's visible to me that it's not important, then I think that's okay, whether or not the columns are selected. But I definitely appreciate it when people's interfaces, like if I've made, well, it's probably these choices. It and instructor foreign key are probably not real names to look at. But if I turn this back on, I want those to be there, even if they were selected before, because I changed my mind, and I know I don't want to reconstruct everything after I change my mind. So that feels it feels better to me to gray that out. Let's see if that how easy that is. This is all tables for each. I guess it's this dot font. Is it font? No, it's dot foreground color. Foreground style. Can I do dot? Yeah. Light gray. Foreground style. Yeah, I think it means that if I've selected a table, then whatever columns it's got marked selected are included. And if I deselect it, I don't include any of those. Then there's sort of it's a separate question about what are you including, what are you showing. But if you've deselected the table, it's definitely not showing. Let me just see how to get gray these days. I have to, uh, that just says a color. Foreground style. Dot. Teal. Dot. Why is teal in there, but indigo orange? Gray is not, huh? Can I do a color? I don't know what foreground style takes. Blue. Secondary. And this is where if the view thing worked, it'd be a lot happier. Okay, now I made them all. Yeah, opacity might work too. I don't know what I'm doing though. I think I'm hard coding this depending on nothing, so it should just be gray. Yeah. Okay, so this is table selection dot includes table. Go to primary, else secondary. I guess I don't know what primary is by default. I assume it's black. Well, yeah, I think they're already in a group in effect because they're in that same for each. Okay, so all right, this is okay. That eyeball color. I don't know. That eyeball is getting a little oppressive, isn't it? Okay, I can kind of live with that. That says I should do these in blue as well, though, if I'm going to do that, which I don't think I am. I think I'm going to pick a better color. Whoa, I didn't pick a color. Okay, we got column button, image, system name, font title. Wait. So why is this blue? Well, maybe it would be better to just be explicit here. Okay, turn it off, and it's grayed out. I don't know if I should apply that same rule. Let's try that. I'll fix the formatting in a second. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm too far. So now they're all gray when their table is marked gray. I don't know why that eyeball. Well, that's not being. Okay. Wait, we're on the for each. Let me just do a stack. I don't know. Is that a stack? Yeah, that's what I was trying to get was the secondary. Let me just do group. Like that. See if that does it. I don't think I need to group them though, because I think I'm going to mess up the table arrangement. It may be acceptable. That's acceptable. All right. Yeah. And if you could still do things to it, which I think is okay, but you're not including that class or that table. That seems pretty clear to me. And I like when you restore it, you've got what you had selected still. That's good. If you deselect everything, that's a problem. Probably should be a warning at some point. We haven't got that far yet. All right, now these buttons. They're a little too smart that you can't substitute one. That may tell me, I don't know. Like, should a column selection be its own thing? And then you just say toggle. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy enough with this, though, that when you put this in now, if he's deselected, should he also gray out? Yeah, I think that's true. Where's the... Okay, so overall, if we're table is not selected, we gray out everything. But I think this needs to be... No. Is it text? $0. Yeah. So deselecting one grays it out as well as that. I do like that. Oh no, but that overrides it. Golly. Maybe, yeah, primary. I wonder if includes column should be false if the table is not included. I think that might actually be a good business rule for this. I think I want that rule. So if includes table and that. Okay, so let's get a test for that one. Okay, so we got column. Let's put C1 in there. Okay, we selection, we toggle a table. And then I want to make sure that selection dot includes column C1 should be false. And this is kind of a before and after thing. Now this I do, even arrange act assert, but between arrange and act, I'll sometimes put a check to make sure it's really the state I expect. That the setup is what I want. And it's not ideal, I don't think, but it's worth it. Okay, this test should fail. This one should be okay, but this should not. Okay. And Presumably comes back true. Okay. So table selection, this is includes table and the column is selected. So the table's got to be selected and the column has to be selected to be included. A little bit of time the columns when the table is deselected. I think, well, I need to fix it, but okay. So this one includes column, show it black or gray. I think I can just move this back to the table because those are doing it by default. Okay, so this is table selection. This is column, includes table, includes column. Okay, I think that makes sense. Oh, I should probably run that test and make sure it works. All right. Too excited by this. All right, that grays, that grays. This should gray everything. This should bring back all but those two. All right, I believe that's the behavior I would like. Okay. Yeah, so table overrides everything because that affects includes column, and separately each column on its own can be included or not, and that changes primary or secondary. Okay, and run tests. Oops. List of tables, you select the active ones. Yes. I mean, this should be have a list of columns. Good, good. All right, now simplify SQL database. That's, yeah, that refactoring. We're going to get rid of that in a second. I think what I want to do is make this work, make it use the new set of tables we have, if I can do that. Yeah, so that's database view. I don't know, maybe there's some refactoring to do here first. This is getting a little bulky. All right, the main database view, that's fine. Let's pull out those buttons. And I think I'm going to keep them in the same file. I may be stupid, but all right. So that is view. Well, it's database view. Where's database view? Is view here? Okay, yeah, let's make a selectable button file. Yeah, now you're complaining because you can't find it. A minute ago you were complaining because it was a duplicate. Okay. He's not very good about new files. Build succeeded. And I can't find two. Yeah. we go. All right. One table view, that's fine. All tables view, I think that's fine. Database section. Config database. Database view tables. All tables view. This is many tables. Okay, let's see what's going on here. For every table, make a navigation link. Well, this says selected column indexes. I maybe, I don't know, that has the numeric values which do get used. No, I hope that's not a problem there. I guess I'm going to have to look at it. Okay, so this is this section, the many tables view. He's got a list of all the tables he knows about with the count somewhere. Number of columns, that's the pound sign, pound columns, colon, and then the selected index count. Okay. Now, where's the action? So that sets it up right away. Yeah, I think the reason it was all indexes is because it's using the index order of those things, but because with the old style where you chose the order of the tables and so on, you could choose which table came first, so you controlled the index order a bit. I'm not sure it matters. And the whole point of this is to be able to reorganize them, but I guess the thing is active tables model, right? That's the thing that, well, I may regret all of this at some point here. He's got everything and he gets used by the actual sort table mechanism. I think. Database view model, join view model tests. Well, does he? I guess I'm not clear where this gets applied. Okay, we got the database names. I don't think we really need that anymore either. The database add table. Okay. So I think that's what's creating the database view model. Yeah, I just don't know if it needs it. Maybe this is the thing. Let's see this guy. All he is observable. Okay, yeah, we don't have the renaming ability. I don't think we could. I think we could manage it. The selectable table could have a proposed rename, but I think for now we can just do table names. Config.joins. Okay, what's config? Oh, that's the loading from a database or from a file. So plain it just sets a message. Okay, he has active table model, active joins. I wonder who's using this. Database view model. Well, for that matter, who's using this? Table controller. Okay, so this gets used. I don't quite know the difference between these two. Model. Oh, model takes initial table. Okay, echo model takes a source. Data source is my data source of data. Table view data source equals data source. Reload. Data has a swapping sorting table, so somebody's already got it based on something. Yeah, I'm just not quite seeing how the database stuff gets in there. Okay, here's initial table. We've seen that. Okay, and then table view. And this is the background, the light gray part in the back, hard left, left, right, hard right. And then data view model. What are you done? What happens to you? Open database. Okay, so configure database calls that with the database view model. Perform segue to configure DB. Well, there's database view model. We were looking at that. Oh, I think this is, I don't know. I feel like that class is maybe working too hard because we did the observable thing and now we know the name of the model, the tables is in our selection object or an array of them. Database SQL database, table name string, effective table name string, selected columns. array of string, array of arrays. And I think each column corresponds. And the join checker, well, this is where we could count. If it's 0, then there's a problem. Where are we for today? Okay, we got 20 minutes. All right, so active tables model, that's the thing I don't like. But database view model wants it. What does he do with it? He does a lot. So I'm really just trying to figure out, do I need to replace this whole object and everything underneath it? Because gosh, active tables sure feels like it's got table view models, selected tables, and effective names, and their indexes, and some sort of join checker. Okay, and let's see what join checker. Oh, is a function. Checker equals whatever gets passed in. Table view model constructor, that's a test. He passes in assess joins. Okay, if active table count is less than or equal to 1. Okay, I think 0 would be interesting, but okay. Database view model. So active tables model, I think, is publishing stuff. He doesn't seem to be using that. Oh no, there it is. Cancellables approach, which I think is probably the problem at this point. I think they changed enough over the last 3 years about how the notifications work and stuff. I think that's what's causing the issues we're having. But what does he ask for? He can append a table view model. He knows the names of the tables. He knows the columns. And he can list his elements. He also can duplicate table checker. Okay. I don't think he's... Yeah, let's look at this thing. Table view model. Selected column indexes. Okay, I'm gonna run this thing and see what it's doing just with one table. Class, add table. Like, how do I see it? They're all visible. Okay. And this should just show them, but it doesn't. Open web page, open database configuration. Let's try that. I think I called one test.config. No, apparently not. It is active demo. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, if that's all it's doing is giving us the tables, what was it? Active table model. I mean, it's doing some other stuff clearly. Where'd those? I mean, a lot of what he knows is this. He knows which indexes to use. Selected table. I guess this is one table with its name, if it renamed. And he knows the selected table index. Knowing the metadata, he gets that. Says he just takes everything for starters. Selected table, effective name. Do we check for that question mark? Not really. Okay. What else does he know? He knows duplicate checker. Let's see that thing. That just knows how to rename. Which doesn't affect us now. All right, but I guess, okay, maybe I got to go backwards. Database view model clearly needs to know if our thing produced a memento properly formatted, right, and this thing loaded it, it would not know the difference. And so I think these match up. Yeah, I think the way these work is the first table name corresponds to the first list of column names. And the joins, I think, are a list of pairs. That can't be right. Let's see what happens with joins. Okay, map, active tables, join checker. Config that joins. Okay, this thing must take another. Table column view model. That might have the equals thing in it. I don't know. It feels like, I think what you said is right. Active tables model is very close to what we just defined as select model, table selection. And so I guess I wonder if database view model. I'm trying to find a path to my current setup, and I think if you produced this object, well, you don't even have to. Okay, we don't have to do the active or the JSON reading and all that. This is just an object you could write to JSON, but we could just create one, and all this stuff seems like, well, format is a constant. Database name we know, test.ddb in our case. Table names we know. Effective table names can just be a copy. We don't do renames. Selected columns, I think we could walk through that list of tables and get the list of columns. And then joins, we could start empty and maybe see something. But active tables model. I mean, that's kind of the guy I don't think we need. But I guess we're just building that bridge to get from our new approach to this approach, and then we can decide how much to clean out. So I don't know. I feel like this is involved. Is there something easy we can do for the next 15 minutes? 10 minutes. SQL database need table and column names. I think the answer is it does for now, but I think we could calculate it from table metadata instead of knowing it separately. So let's see if we can do that. Tables and columns for it. Null SQL just has null. Table of string. Columns of string equal empty. It's just returning empty. Okay, yeah, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. This is the only one that's going to count. Tables. Well, I guess I'm saying we could take, oh, we got all tables. Where is that set? Make all tables equals that stuff. Okay. So table names. Well, this is becoming more complicated than I thought. Table names. Oh, if you get a result from the database, it's got the table names. And then the table metadata. Well, it's a backwards way of getting at. And this digs it out. Where's that metadata get it from? Oh, it calls columns for. Okay, so I'm wanting to switch that. All right, that looks more complicated than 10 minutes deserves. SQL support part of database. Let's find SQL support. Okay, static functions. They take the database name. All right, let's get these part of SQL database. Who's calling it? Lots of people. All right, I'm going to move it in that direction if I can. Let's try a rename. I'm going to rename it SQL database. And call it, okay, let's see if that'll work first. Trying to get fancy here. No. That shouldn't be a red declaration. There should be a bunch of people complaining. Static stored properties not allowed. Oh. Well, do I need that? I think I'm messing myself up here. What I'm trying to do is get I'm trying to force these SQL support methods into SQL database. Okay. I think again I've taken something too tricky. Bunch of stuff. Make sure we build and run and test. What I was hoping to do is force this into SQL database as static functions and then find the people who are doing it. And every one of them, most of them take a database, and that they could already have a SQL database that knows its own name. So I think it can be done. I don't think I can do it in 4 minutes correctly, though. So I think yeah. We're going to stop here. Okay, well, we'll look at this stuff later. I think I'm just putting off the hard problem of the database view model, forming that. And maybe that's where we start tomorrow. So let's put a note there for that. Use new approach with database view model if possible. Okay, and there may be some tricks we have to do. All right. Well, thanks for joining. Yeah, it doesn't like static functions. It just doesn't work out. All right. Well, anyway, I'll see you tomorrow, I hope, 2 to 4:30 Eastern Time or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. And have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.